What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Tuesday, May 11th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate.
And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have a 12-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. So I rolled the dice yesterday, tried to save some salary at the pitcher position because the splits were good, but that's the risk that you run when you try to save salary at the pitcher position. It normally ends bad, but I like to do it every once in a while. I'm not going to do it here tonight. I like John Means pitching against the New York Mets. John Means, he's giving up a .603 OPS versus righties. He's facing 4 righties here tonight. He's giving up a .575 OPS versus lefties, facing 3 lefties. And surprisingly, his best pitch is versus switch hitters, only giving up a .275 OPS versus switch hitters, and he's facing 2 switch hitters here tonight. So on top of that, the Mets have only hit 9 of his last 32 pitches, batting a .281 batting average. Now John Means is projected at 36.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's 11,000 FanDuel salary, and he's 700 less on DraftKings. He's had an outstanding start to the season. His ERA is only 1.37. His record is 4-0, pitching an average of 97 pitches per game, averaging 44 fantasy points per game. He scored 73, 52, and 44 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So he's been on fire. So I like John Means here versus the New York Mets. Okay, let's take a look at the first base position. I like Eric Hosmer. Now, I'm going to give you the San Diego Padres players that I gave you yesterday because that game didn't kick off, but they're versus the same pitcher in the same matchup as they were yesterday. So I liked him yesterday, so I like him again here today. So I like Eric Hosmer with a 4% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Antonio Senzatella. Eric Hosmer is batting a .846 OPS versus righties. And Antonio Senzatella, he throws his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .881 OPS versus lefties. But I like this pick because Eric Hosmer is 6 for 17, batting a .353 batting average and a 1.123 OPS versus Senzatella. So Eric Hosmer is 3,900 FanDuel salary, and he's 1,100 more on DraftKings. Projected at 10.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 16, 0, and 25 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Eric Hosmer here versus Antonio Senzatella.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Now guys, just as a quick note, we just released a free DFS contest on Draft Dashboard for MLB and NBA for DraftKings and FanDuel. There's over $500 available in the prize pool, and this is a totally free contest you can enter as a Draft Dashboard member. So make sure to click the link in the description of this video, give Draft Dashboard a try, and you can start playing in our free DFS contest and compete to win some money. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Whit Merrifield with a 66% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Matthew Boyd. Whit Merrifield is batting 14% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .840 OPS versus lefties. And Matthew Boyd, he throws his worst ball by far to righty batters. 52% worse than his pitch to lefties, giving up a .804 OPS versus righties. Now I like this pick, and it might be my favorite pick on the slate just because of this stat. Whit Merrifield is 25 for 51, batting a .490 batting average and a 1.225 OPS versus Boyd. That is a huge sample size. So Whit Merrifield is $3,700 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,600 more on DraftKings. Projected at 10.7 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 22 and 7 fantasy points in his last 2 games. So I like Whit Merrifield here versus Matthew Boyd. Okay, so another player that's eligible at the second base position is Jake Croninworth with a 36% batting advantage versus that low salary pitcher, Antonio Senzatella. Jake Croninworth, he's batting 30% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .885 OPS versus righties. And we know Senzatella pitches his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .881 OPS versus lefties. Croninworth is 2 for 6, batting a .333 batting average and a 1.167 OPS versus Senzatella. He's $3,600 FanDuel salary, and he's $800 more on DraftKings. Projected at 9.4 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 34, 9, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Jake Croninworth here versus Antonio Senzatella. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. I like Josh Harrison, batting against a low salary pitcher, Chase Anderson. Josh Harrison, he's batting a .775 OPS versus righties, and Chase Anderson is giving up a .896 OPS versus righties. Now I like this pick because Josh Harrison is 7 for 17, batting a .412 batting average and a 1.239 OPS versus Anderson. Harrison is $3,400 FanDuel salary, and he's $200 more on DraftKings. Projected at 9.4 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 0, 0, and 32 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I think he's due for a good game here tonight. So I like Josh Harrison here versus Chase Anderson.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, who do we have at the shortstop position? I like Josh Rojas with a 14% batting advantage over Pablo Lopez. Josh Rojas, he's batting a .618 OPS versus righties, and Pablo Lopez, he throws his worst ball versus lefty batters. 27% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .729 OPS versus lefties. Josh Rojas is 2 for 5, batting .400 with a 1.1 OPS versus Lopez. He's $3,000 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,400 more on DraftKings. Projected at 9.6 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 9, 9, and 12 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I like Josh Rojas here versus Pablo Lopez. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. There are a lot of studs that are in good spots here tonight. I'll just go through them real quick and then I'll tell you my favorite one. I like Ronald Acuna Jr. I like JD Martinez. I like Bryce Harper. And I like Giancarlo Stanton. So I think Stanton is in a really great spot here tonight. But my favorite stud pick at the outfield position is Ronald Acuna Jr. with a 31% batting advantage over Robbie Ray. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's batting a .942 OPS versus lefties, and Robbie Ray, he throws his worst ball versus righty batters. 39% worse than his pitch to lefties, giving up a .918 OPS versus righties. I like this pick because Ronald Acuna Jr. is 3 for 6, batting .500 with a 2.167 OPS versus Ray. 2 of those 3 hits were for home runs. He's $4,500 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,500 more on DraftKings. Projected at 13.7 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 16 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 12, 3, and 7 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I like Ronald Acuna Jr. here versus Robbie Ray.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.